Good evening, and thank you all for joining Tier 1 Travel's exclusive series, Keeping the Dream Alive. My name's Shelley Perry. I'm General Manager here at Tier 1 Travel, and tonight we're in for a real treat as we travel to Egypt and Portugal aboard the most all-inclusive luxury river cruise line, Uniworld Boutique River Cruises. Our very good friend Brad Gibson will share with us both finer details of Uniworld and two amazing itineraries traveling the Nile and Douro rivers that have been especially selected for you tonight. Now, both Brad and Uniworld have been outstanding partners of Tier 1 Travel for many years, so we're very excited to have them present to you. So, without further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Brad.
Thank you so much, Shelley, and to everyone at Tier 1 Travel for being great partners of Uniworld, and for everyone for joining us and taking the time this evening. I would also like to introduce a special guest joining me. We have also on the presentation Michelle Palma, and she is the president of Uniworld Boutique River Cruises in Canada. So as we go through this evening, we're each going to do a part of the presentation, and we'll have time for some questions at the end. But we're going to take you through a journey and show you very specifically what makes Uniworld very unique and distinct, and truly the only luxurious choice for river cruising. And also, as Shelley mentioned, we will take you through specific itineraries we have in Egypt and on the Douro River Valley in Portugal. We'll talk about our cruise and rail program as well. So we will get started, and to begin, I'm going to pass it over to Michelle.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shelley. Thank you so much, Brad. And thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. I've had the incredible good fortune to work for Uniworld Boutique River Cruise Collection now for 10 years, and I can tell you that river cruising is the absolute best way to travel. And Uniworld, as Shelley said in the intro, provides you with the most all-inclusive, luxurious boutique river cruise experience in the world. For this evening's presentation, we're going to present several different itineraries, as well as highlight what makes river cruising with Uniworld so special and so unique. Let's start to talk about cruising with Uniworld. First of all, we have the most all-inclusive amenities. You can literally step off our ship and have zero bill at the end of the week. For our guests on board, it's all about the outstanding service. Our service philosophy is quite simple. No request too large and no detail is too small. We're going to spoil and pamper you every single minute of every single day. We are very well known for our award-winning, one-of-a-kind ships, because no two ships are alike. Every single ship is different and reflective of the region that she travels and sails through. And of course, why so many of us travel is the food. It's all about the incredible cuisine as we explore so many different countries on a river cruise. So let's talk about what's included with Uniworld, everything. Not only do we have one of the highest staff to guest ratios, but as I said, everything is included. We pick you up at the airport on embarkation day. We bring you straight to the ship. As soon as you come out of the baggage claim area, you'll see your Uniworld representative is right there, prominently standing there to greet you and whisk you to the ship. We include 24-hour complimentary room service and concierge service. So if you feel like having a leisurely breakfast in your stateroom or a late night snack or in your suite, that's all inclusive. We also include all the gratuities, so there's no tipping envelopes coming out at the end of the week, which is fantastic. If you've ever traveled on a big cruise ship before, you know that those gratuities at the end of the week can definitely add up. We also include unlimited beverages, including premium spirits, beer, and regional wines. Always fantastic wines, again, that are reflective of the regions that we travel through. And every single day you'll have a choice of anywhere from 2 to up to 4 or 5 different shore excursions that are included each and every day on board your Uniworld Boutique River Cruise. Let's now talk a little bit more about our ships and the service. The service, first of all, we have some of our staff have been with us for over 25 years. And truly, service is at the heart of everything that we do. When you come back on board our ship, you really feel every day when you come back from your tours and excursions that it's like being welcomed home by family. You know, and we have this thing, it's called TNTs, which stands for Tiny Noticeable Touches. And what those are the little things that you might not even notice. For example, We have little jars on your night table with fresh chocolates and nougat, and your cabin attendant will notice which ones you like and restock them. Or maybe perhaps you stepped on board the ship and you have a favorite beverage that we didn't happen to have available when you first came on board. Guess what? Someone's going to take off the ship and find what that favorite beverage is of yours and bring it back on board. It's about your second night when you walk into the lounge to order a pre-dinner cocktail and the bartender remembers your name and your drink and exactly how you like it. It's the tiny noticeable touches that are at the heart of the incredible service that every one of our staff and crew deliver. Let's talk about the dining. Of course, it's such a big reason why so many of us travel, is to have that opportunity to immerse ourselves in the local culture and truly experience the incredible dining and cuisine of the various countries and cities that we go to visit. And with Uniworld, it's all about farm to table. You'll see this picture as one of our chefs, and they get off the ships every day. They go into the local markets to source the fresh ingredients that will be used in the preparation of that day's meals. And in fact, some of our excursions include going into these local markets with the chefs, where you can see them. One of my favorites is on our Gems of Northern Italy itinerary in Venice, where we go into the Rialto market on a Saturday morning, and that's when all the locals are there, doing their shopping for their fresh fruits and vegetables. And there's an iconic fish market there, and our chef meets us there, and he handpicks the different squid and fish that will be used in the preparation of that evening's dinner. I'm super proud to say that we're the only river cruise line in the world with full vegetarian and vegan menu options every single day. Now let's talk about the exclusive experiences. One of the things that really makes Uniworld stand out is the incredible experiences that we offer on each of our shore excursions every single day. As I mentioned, you'll have a choice of anywhere from 2 to up to 4 or 5. And we'll have options that will include things like a city tour. If you've never been to Paris or Vienna or some of the major iconic cities in Europe, we take you on an orientation tour where you'll get to visit all the highlights of that city, that the iconic landmarks and historical sites throughout the city. We also have Do As the Locals Do, where we take you in small groups into local villages for small group, very authentic, unique, once-in-a-lifetime experiences. And we'll talk more about that as we focus on some of the itineraries. We have our Let's Go Active excursion. So if you want to grab one of the complimentary bicycles on board and go with our onboard wellness instructor for a complimentary bike ride, or sometimes we do group bike rides, or we'll have gentle walking tours and hiking tours. So every single day you'll have a choice of so many different excursions to choose from. And if you've never done a river cruise before, I can tell you, you get up in the morning, you enjoy a fabulous breakfast, and then you go off on one of your included excursions. We bring everybody back to the ship for an incredible lunch, and then you have the afternoon free to explore. And what's really unique and special about river cruising is that we're docked right in the heart of the cities and the towns and the villages that we visit on each of our itineraries. So there's no tendering, and you're just walking on and off the ship freely. And what's really special is that maybe on part of your tour in the morning, you noticed a beautiful little area or neighborhood with boutiques and shops and cafes, and you think to yourself, I'd love to go back and spend more time exploring. We give you the maps. We're docked right there. The rivers and the towns and the villages are always so small and quaint. You can always find your way back to the ship. It's just such an incredible way to go back and explore. Or maybe you want to relax on board and enjoy a spa treatment, or sit and go up onto the sun deck and enjoy the 365-degree views as we're sailing down these beautiful, iconic rivers. One of the great analogies that I heard from a coworker many years ago that I always like to share with people is people say when you take a cruise, you visit the heart of a country, which is so true. But when you take a river cruise, you travel the arteries of a country, because these rivers are all very narrow, and you could always see the riverbanks from either side while you're sailing down. And it's just so rich and steeped in history and just so beautiful and picturesque as you're sailing back past these medieval towns and castles or beautiful vineyards like you see here. It truly is a very unique once-in-a-lifetime experience. I believe our next slide is a video that Brad's going to pull up for us now that just very quickly highlights some of the unique opportunities for experiences on board a Uniworld ship. Thank you, Brad. Honestly, you know, we are so excited as we're just transitioning back to the PowerPoint presentation. I can tell you that we're going to be back in water this coming weekend. We're super excited to announce that we will be having our first ship back in the water in Italy on our Gems of Northern Italy sailing and docked right in the heart of Venice this coming weekend. The following weekend, we will have our first sailing in Portugal on our Douro River cruise. And then next month, in July, we will be launching all 3 of our super ships back into the water in France. So it's super exciting to see that travel is back, the light is at the end of the tunnel, and we're really excited to provide all of our guests with the opportunity to travel again this early in 2021. And with that, I will turn it over to Brad for his incredible overview of our Egypt and the Nile itinerary.
Thank you very much, Michelle. It's my pleasure to go through this particular itinerary with us because Egypt is such an incredible destination. There is only one Egypt in the world, and if you have never been, it's my hope for you that you're able to go. I have been once myself quite a few years ago now, and if I have the opportunity to go back, I will not hesitate, and I sincerely hope it's aboard our brand new ship. We're very proud to be launching the super ship Sphinx, which was to debut last year and will be starting up this fall. So we're very excited. And she is the most beautiful ship on the Nile once she's sailing. 42 suites. Absolutely gorgeous, and like all Uniworld ships, has such amazing artwork, fabrics on board, all locally sourced through the local economy. And as anywhere that you sail with Uniworld, the ships really reflect the destinations that we are traveling in. So it's going to be such a joy to have the Sphinx in the water and sailing soon. It has a swimming pool, massage room, and 3 gourmet dining venues, which is going to be fantastic. So we very much look forward to that. On this particular sailing, we have a combination of some land and some cruising. So 4 nights touring, and that's in and around Cairo. We've got 7 beautiful nights on the Sphinx. You can see all your meals included, including a welcome reception and farewell dinner, which are always very special. 11 included excursions and no less than 4 UNESCO heritage sites. Egypt is one of a kind, and it really is like traveling in a certain way, like you're traveling through an open-air museum as you travel through. So we're 12 days on our Splendors of Egypt and the Nile, and you can see that we both start and finish our journey in Cairo, and we build in some amazing experiences at the beginning in Cairo and some amazing experiences at the end. And then in between is this incredibly luxurious river cruise along the Nile to visit all the ancient sites and temples as we go along. So you can see just a quick overview of some of the places we're going. When you sail traditionally on the Nile, that's done between Luxor and Aswan. And there are options within the marketplace for typically 3, 4, or 7 night cruises. And for us at Uniworld to have the 7 night is the most beautiful way to do it. We start in Luxor, we sail up to Aswan, and then we come back. So you see all the sites, but in a very leisurely way. When Michelle was mentioning having, you know, an excursion or 2, but then time to relax, whether it be on the ship or exploring off the ship. So it's a beautiful balance of time and activity as we go along. So these are just a few photos and a few highlights of things along the way. So I was just going to mention in the beginning part of the trip in Cairo, we'll be visiting the Alabaster Mosque, otherwise known as the Muhammad Ali Mosque. We also have the Egyptian Museum, of course, and the new Egyptian Museum, I believe, will be opening a little later this year, and it is absolutely, it's going to be breathtaking. When I was there, it was the old one in the center of Cairo. So we have a beautiful start to the trip there. And then once we fly into Luxor, and we're going to get on board the Sphinx, we have a chance to visit the Temple of Karnak, and the entrance to the Temple of Karnak is known as the Avenue of the Sphinxes, with these ram head sphinxes lining both sides. And colossal structures and just quite a sight to see. We also will have a chance to go board a small boat, and we go with a Nubian family. The Nubians have been around for centuries and centuries, sort of southern Egypt, northern Sudan, and we go with them in a boat to do some fantastic bird watching along the sides and the banks of the Nile. And we go along in the boat to a Nubian village, and then we join one of the families in their dwelling. So which I think is such a beautiful experience, because when we travel, not only to see iconic sites, but to also meet the locals that are living there as well. And I think that's a very special experience that we offer on our trip. This is one of my favorites as well, and that is down toward Aswan, that we have the felucca rides. And the felucca is an Egyptian sailboat, as pictured here. And you'll see a number of them out on the water, and it is calm and relaxing, and it's a beautiful part of the Nile. And so you have some enjoyment being out on the river. And from the river, when you look up, one of the things that you will see is this building, and that is the Old Cataract Hotel on the banks of the Nile, a very, very famous property. It's had guests such as Sir Winston Churchill, Princess Diana, and of course Agatha Christie. And Agatha Christie wrote Death on the Nile, the Old Cataract Hotel. And what's lovely about this is after our felucca ride, then we go up and we have a beautiful afternoon high tea up on the terraces of the Old Cataract Hotel, looking back down onto the Nile. And it's a wonderful part of the experience. And I've done the high tea myself, and when you're there in person, it's a little bit of a pinch me moment when you consider how old everything is, and you're combining different centuries, more recent in terms of Agatha Christie, of course, but in a place that has such ancient history to it. And then as we sail along the Nile, just the sights, and this happens with Uniworld wherever you travel with us, is the times that we're just sailing along. And again, the choice is yours. You might have a spa, you might have a swim, you might be up on the sun deck and enjoying a refreshing drink and just watching the world go by. And in this case, the Nile. And you can see, we've always known how important the Nile was to the Egyptians, to ancient history, and how it can bring the lushness to the banks of the river, and in certain stretches, quite lush. So it's a beautiful journey along the Nile with so many different temples. You're going to see Kamambo, the Temple of Isis, the Temple of Philae, which is on an island. It was actually on a different island. It was moved in the 70s. But again, it's an open-air museum wherever you go. The people are absolutely lovely as well. Very much enjoyed my time traveling through Egypt. And then, of course, one of the biggest highlights for most of us is to see the pyramids, and to see the pyramids up front. And if you take a look at this photo, you can see how, the outer shell, if you will, of the pyramids, which was almost white in the olden times, was all chipped away, but the structures themselves so magnificent, so large, and it's not until you're standing there in person that moment really takes you. And of course, so we have a beautiful visit to the pyramids of Giza. We do ancient Memphis as well. So you're having some great experiences at the beginning of the trip and at the end in Cairo. And there's one of my photos of the Sphinx just off to the side, the Great Sphinx to the side of the pyramids at Giza. It is truly an amazing place. So if you have not been, my wish for you is that you're able to go. And if you have been, like me, maybe you would like to return once again. So with that, I am going to pass it over to Michelle just to talk a little of our cruise and rail and also our Portugal itinerary.
Thank you, Brad. I have to say that's such an inspiring presentation. It is my wish that I can get there as well. Since I was a young girl, I've been fascinated by Egypt, and so it's the top of my bucket list. And I think, with losing the last 15 months in our ability to travel, I think for a lot of us, we're taking those bucket list trips and maybe moving them up our priority list moving forward, because we don't want to miss out. Right? We don't want to miss out on these incredible opportunities. So thank you for that. And I love all your personal photos. I love that you've been there and that you can speak firsthand, and your photos were absolutely beautiful. So thank you for sharing those with us.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes before we dive into our incredible Portugal itinerary. We're just going to take a couple minutes to talk about our brand new cruise and rail program. This is something that is brand new for Uniworld. We just launched it a couple of months ago, and it's very unique. It's unique and exclusive to Uniworld. We're the only river cruise line in the world to offer all-inclusive river cruising combined with all-inclusive rail trip. And so we partnered with Golden Eagle, who are our new partner. And again, they take care of every little detail, just like Uniworld does on the river, as does Golden Eagle on the trains. And they have an incredible history, and they've just been such an incredible partner for us. We're very excited. And the demand for these combination itineraries has been absolutely remarkable. From the moment that we launched it, the demand has been incredible. So I'm just going to touch very quickly on the 4 unique itineraries that we have to offer for our cruise and rail program. The first one is our Milan, Venice, and the Gems of Northern Italy, which is available for travel in both 2021 as well as 2022. And this is fantastic. It's a 14-day itinerary that combines 2 nights in Milan, 7-night Venice to Venice round-trip cruise with Uniworld, a 3-night train on Golden Eagle from Venice to Zurich, or reverse, depending on which direction, and then 1 night in Zurich. Absolutely incredible itinerary. Our second one does something a little bit different. It combines our 7-day river cruise on the super ship La Venezia, again, docked in the heart of Venice. You're walking off and on the ship. One of the special experiences that we offer on that particular itinerary is a private evening opening of St. Mark's Basilica. And if you've ever been to Venice, you must go and visit St. Mark's Basilica because it's just so breathtaking and historic and iconic. And what we've done is we've made special arrangements to take our guests in the evening after it's closed to the general public. So during the day, when we go to Doge's Palace for our private group tour, you'll see that thousands of people lined up to get into St. Mark's Basilica. And, we go back in the evening when it's closed. If we go in through a side door that you wouldn't even notice is there when you walk by during the daytime hours. And we have this line up all these special chairs in the middle of the Basilica just as the sun's starting to set and the sun's shining through the beautiful stained glass windows, and they start to do a light show on the ceiling with all the incredible, gold painted frescoes and all over the ceilings. And you have the opportunity to go up behind the main altar as well as down into the lower tomb levels, all with a local historian. And it's that private 1.5 hours within the Basilica that is one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I've had the opportunity to do it 3 times now, and I could do it 5 more, I swear. But this particular itinerary gives you the opportunity to do the 7-night cruise, but also combine that with the iconic 6-night Venice to Istanbul train, and then round it out with 2 nights at a luxury hotel in Istanbul. Our third itinerary for the cruise and rail program is our Castles of Transylvania and the Enchanting Danube. So here you'll have the opportunity to do, again, a 1-week cruise on our super ship, the Maria Teresa, on our Enchanting Danube itinerary, which is from Budapest to Passau. And then there's 4-night train ride, round trip from Budapest, as well as 1-night hotel that's included as well. So this is a 12-night trip. And then rounding out our 4 itineraries is our Trans-Siberian Express. This is available only for 2022, and it's a 14-night. And again, this is one of those rail trips that I think is so steeped in history. And the demand for this particular itinerary, as I said, it's a 15-day, has been remarkable. It's actually our best seller of the 4. And so we're super excited about the opportunity for you to travel on one of our cruise and rail programs if that's something of interest to you as well. Definitely reach out to Shelley and the incredible team, and they can provide you with additional information. And with that, we're going to start to talk about our Portugal, Spain, and the Douro itinerary. So this is a wonderful program. This is an 11-day cruise on our new super ship, the São Gabriel. She will be making her debut in, I guess, just over a week. On June 27th, she will have her christening. She's absolutely beautiful, brand new ship. She was to make her debut, of course, last year. Unfortunately, it was slightly detained, but this is an incredible itinerary. If we look at the, you'll see there's a number of different suites, grand suites, French balconies, deluxe, and classic. So there's a number of different categories of staterooms and suites to choose from. But let's start to talk about the itinerary, because that's what we want to explore further. So you'll see here that it's Lisbon to Porto. And what's fabulous about this itinerary is it combines the 7-day cruise with several days in Lisbon as well. And Lisbon's such a beautiful city. We even go over to Salamanca in Spain. And it's definitely one of our most popular destinations. I have to say, when we were working with Shelley and the team and putting together a presentation for this evening, they said, you know, what's popular, what's selling right now? And absolutely, Egypt is in incredible demand, as is our Portugal, Spain, and the Douro River Valley. So very excited to present more details on this itinerary. But let's start off by talking about the highlights. You know, as I said, it includes, you know, so many different beautiful cities and towns along the way, but there's a few I wanted to talk about. One of the highlights, I think, on this itinerary is, you know, the 9 excursions. Sorry, just going forward one more slide. I think you went back one. Right, thank you. We do visit 7 different UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There are over 9 different included excursions, all of your meals, of course, and then the private experiences, which we're going to talk about as well. One of my favorite highlights of this itinerary is a visit to the Douro Museum. And this is where you'll have the opportunity to learn about the winemaking history of Portugal. In fact, the Romans planted vines in this region over 2,000 years ago. You'll have the opportunity to see firsthand the process of making port wines and how it's changed and evolved over the years. And of course, you'll smell the beautiful different aromas that good port wines display. But as with any type of winery or estate visit, it ultimately ends with the opportunity to sample a sip or two at the end of your tour. With this particular slide, you'll see the beautiful architecture here. And this is one of what we call our do as the locals do, or village day experiences. Village days would probably be a better description of it, because here you'll have the opportunity to go in to what a beautiful town and walk around and explore the cobblestone streets and have that orientation tour. But then we're going to take you to a beautiful local family-run restaurant where you'll have the opportunity to meet the family that has had this restaurant in their family for generations and enjoy a traditional Portuguese luncheon. And of course, you know that's going to include fabulous fresh fish, local meats, and vegetable dishes that are fresh from the local farms and always reflective of what's in season at the time. Of course, you know, if we move to our next slide, we'll talk about one of our other unique experiences on this itinerary, and that is visiting one of the most prestigious port wine estates in all of Portugal. This stretch of the Douro is probably one of the most scenic and picturesque when you see images of the rolling hills with the rows of all the vineyards and vines, rather. And here we will have the opportunity to tour the state-of-the-art facilities at this very prestigious winery, including the cellars that you see here, and enjoy a private tasting in a room. And I wish I had a photo of it, but it doesn't do it justice, of course, describing it. But it's all glass walls, looking out over the spectacular Douro River Valley. So it really is one of, again, such a prestigious winery and one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Our next slide, we talk about another incredible opportunity, which is on day 6, when we visit the beautiful medieval town, and Castelo Rodrigo is the name of both the castle and the village that it shelters. Of course, you know, this is one of the most charming, quaint villages that you'll ever have the opportunity to visit. And, you know, when you go up from the top of the castle, you have the most breathtaking panoramic views. And then, of course, we'll have plenty of time to stroll the ancient cobblestone streets and sample the delicious local treats. This particular region is very well known for honey. So you have the opportunity to sample the honeys, the almonds, the olive oil, the local cheeses, the fabulous wines, of course. Now, I have to say, I don't want you to think that this itinerary is all about incredible food and wine. I can assure you there is so much more. One of our other optional excursions includes a visit to an archaeological park. And there's an incredible array of prehistoric carvings dating back to 20,000 BC. We're going to take you four-wheel driving down dirt roads. There's optional hiking to some of the more remote carvings that you can explore as well. But there's just such an incredible array of unique experiences and opportunities on this particular itinerary. And then we just wanted to touch very briefly on some of our most popular itineraries that we have in other areas of Europe. Certainly France is, one of the all-time favorites, especially for Canadian travelers. Brilliant Bordeaux is one of my personal favorites. In fact, in 2014, when we launched this itinerary, our entire sales team went over for our global conference, and it was before our first sailing in Bordeaux. And so when our meetings were done, we had to go and participate in all the different excursions and winery tastings and visits and bicycling through the vineyards to make sure that it was good enough for you, our guests, to experience on your trip with Uniworld. And so, of course, we rose to the challenge and made sure that, we checked all the boxes. But all kidding aside, for any fellow wine aficionados on our presentation this evening, this is an absolutely incredible itinerary. It's Bordeaux to Bordeaux round trip. Bordeaux is really like a mini version of Paris without all the madness and chaos. And what's beautiful about this itinerary is that it visits all three major wine regions in Bordeaux. So every evening during dinner, you're going to be drinking fabulous wines from the Bordeaux region. And I have to tell you, some of them are almost impossible to find once you get back home. Every day you'll have an opportunity to visit different chateaus and wineries, picnics in the vineyards, biking through the vineyards, meeting the chateau owners, and having those very, small group, authentic, unique experiences along the way. So that's one of my favorites for France. We also want to take a minute to highlight our castles along the Rhine. If you've never taken a river cruise before, this is the one you might want to start with. As you can see here, there are, several different countries that you'll visit along the way. But honestly, this is such probably the most picturesque stretch of river that you'll have the opportunity to sail down. Every day, we tend to sail during the day more on this itinerary because we want you to enjoy those beautiful 360-degree views as you're lying up on one of our, thick wrought iron loungers with the thick cushions, and the staff will be coming up to offer you fresh beverages, and you can enjoy these incredible views of these medieval towns and castles and villages as we sail along. So this really is one of those itineraries. We sail a little bit more during the day. You'll still be off doing excursions, but then in the afternoon, sometimes we're going to sail because it's so picturesque and beautiful, you won't want to miss much of it. What's also great about this itinerary is that there's lots of locks. So if you've never been through a lock on a river cruise before, it's incredible. The locks have been there for so many years, and the ships come literally within inches on either side. And so going through locks, I think, is definitely one of the fun, unique aspects of river cruising, especially on your first couple of days on board the ship. And then our final itinerary that we just wanted to touch on this evening before we wrap up is our enchanting Danube. The Danube River is so steeped in history. You see this picture here on the left of the Parliament building. What's really special about this is when you get into Budapest, this particular itinerary visits 4 different countries. You have Austria, Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia. But Budapest is just so beautiful. You really do need 2 full days there. And during the evening, when the Parliament building is all lit up, the captain will sail back and forth in front of it, so you can get all of those, Instagram-worthy photos and, photos to share with your friends and family on Facebook. But there's a beautiful local market in Budapest. There's a cobblestone street that's pedestrian only. At the very end, after passing all these great restaurants and shops and boutiques, there's a massive outdoor local market that's partially covered, and you can go in and there's fresh produce, and that's where you're going to stock up on saffron. There is just so much of it, and paprika, whether you want the mild or the spicy, but it's just, you're there again with all the locals and with our local guide. It's an absolutely magical experience. We also take you in the evening to an opera house. in Bratislava on this particular itinerary. We do a private Mozart and Strauss concert that you can get dressed up for a little bit one night and go out and enjoy a glass of champagne and this incredible performance in a very beautiful ornate concert hall, including dancers that will get up and do waltzes as well. And then Vienna, of course, another iconic city. One of my favorite experiences here is what we call Morning with the Masters. And this is something that's unique and exclusive to Uniworld. And what we do on many of our itineraries is that we will take you into some of the world's most renowned museums before they open to the general public, and a small group of no more than 5 or 6 with a local art historian. And it's so quiet inside, you can literally hear a pin drop. And so in Vienna, we have one of our Morning with the Masters experiences at the Vienna Art History Museum. So these are just a few of the highlights of this particular itinerary. I've had the incredible good fortune to have traveled on all 3 of these that we've just talked about. So certainly if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them for you. But again, as I said at the beginning, you know, river cruising is just such a beautiful way to travel. It gives you the opportunity to, you know, meet and mingle with the locals. It gives you the opportunity to immerse yourself in the local culture, and you have the full day in port. You know, quite often we overnight in port. In the evenings after dinner, if you want to get off the ship and go for an evening stroll or have a nightcap in town, you know, that's certainly an option as well. But you can be as busy or relaxed as you want on a river ship. And we certainly hope that, you know, this is something that you would be interested in experiencing at some point this year or even next year. And so with that, I just want to say thank you so much for your time this evening. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and now we will open it up to any questions that you may have.
So there is, everybody on the call is muted, but there is a question or chat box that you can type into if you do have any questions. Thank you, Michelle. Again, it was great to go through all that, and I can tell you for all of us in the travel industry, and I'm sure you folks too, it's been 15 months too long of not having any trips, and when we go through all these places and experiences, sort of gets the travel blood pumping, and there's not much nicer way to do things than with Uniworld, so it's very much a treat. I'm just going to see if we... Sorry, I just need to expand this. Dietary restrictions, are they aware on board? So yes, Michelle, maybe you can speak to that a bit better, but as far as, you know, obviously with our staff and our chefs, we can cater to any dietary restrictions on board. Do we get that information in advance? Yes, we do.
Yes. Before you travel, in fact, before you even depart, you can fill out a form online on our website, and that will give us all of your personal preferences and information before you even arrive at the ship. And we specialize in special dietary requests. I'm perfectly honest with you. If you have an allergy to something specific, or you have specific needs, we'll make sure that you're going to be very well taken care of on board our ships.
And we have another comment. Wonderful presentation. I've sailed with Uniworld many times and loved each and every one. Thank you, and thank you. Any special promotions going on right now? So we do have early payment discounts for next year. If you have sailed with us, you're part of our River Heritage program, so that you have that available as well. So the best thing is to talk with your Tier 1 travel advisor, and they can assist you checking dates availability and what promotions tie into that. We have another one. I cruised with Uniworld from Paris to Normandy and returned. Wonderful on the Joie de Vivre. I really appreciated the active excursion options. I agree very much. Thank you for that. It's nice to have a choice for one, and if you are more active, it's great. And I'm just going to take a look. I don't think we have anything else. Last call for questions if you have any. But otherwise, again, thank you so much. Thank you to Tier 1. They're great friends of ours and partners, and to everybody who joined this evening. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something perhaps, and we would love to welcome you on any of our ships in different destinations around the world.
Well, thank you, Brad, and thank you, Michelle, for taking us on these fantastic journeys. We're all getting so very close to the smells and flavors and feelings of traveling again, and I know we're all very excited about that. Thank you for either adding to our bucket list or just reconfirming those destinations. So, and thank you all for attending tonight. As Brad said, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your Tier 1 travel consultant.
We do have, Shelley, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there was just a couple of questions that came in. Michelle, you may be able to answer this one. Any idea when the 2023 Egypt will be released for sale?
Well, that's a great question. We just launched 2023 this week. So it is available for booking. Certainly there's a lot of pent-up demand for travel right now. 2022, I think, I'm not trying to create a sense of urgency by any means, but it is starting to fill up very quickly, especially because we had so many passengers that were booked for last year and then rebooked again. So in some cases, so yes, that's why we've never come out with, we now have 3 years on sale at the same time, which has never happened. But yes, 2023 launched this week. And so yes, Egypt is definitely a hot seller. I would say don't wait too long.
Perfect. And then another one, are there any single rooms on any cruises?
Yes, very much so. In fact, if you go to the Uniworld website, you'll see current offers. And if you click on it, we'll have solo traveler offers. And right there, if you click on it, it will list all of the itineraries and the departure dates where we have reduced or waived single supplements for solo travelers. Solo travelers is a big part of our guest mix on board Uniworld. And so we open up so many staterooms at the beginning of the season for solo travelers. And then, of course, as the ship starts to fill up, we have to take them away. But sometimes they come back at the last minute. But certainly solo travelers is something that, is a lot of our guest mix on board our ships. And it's wonderful because we'll have a special welcome cocktail party for all of our solo travelers as soon as you step on board so that everyone has the opportunity to meet one another. And our staff and crew really go above and beyond to make sure that our solo travelers feel even more special on board.
You can't help but feel special when you're on Uniworld. I promise you that. Another is any excursions for people with disabilities. So
I think it would depend on what the disability is, but we do offer our gentle walking tours, and I've been on many ships where we've made special arrangements for guests so that they have the opportunity to get off and have experiences in the destination according to their capabilities.
That's great. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. And Shelley, I'm sorry I cut you off there. We have last minute questions.
That's great. And again, thank you, Brad and Michelle. Thank you to everybody for joining. And again, if there's any further questions, do not hesitate to reach out to your Tier 1 travel consultant. And have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Brad. Bye, everyone.